Hi, and welcome to this week's weekly RVP report for the week of Friday, July 18th, 2025. And the beat goes on. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you are new to the podcast, please do like, subscribe, and share so that others can gain in the knowledge you're being afforded. As you know, I'm not a financial advisor, nor is this constituted as financial advice. It's merely quality information being shared with you in order for you to use for your own personal discernment. Now, on to the nation of Iraq. I'm going to pull up some slides accordingly. Iraq is putting themselves into position to be in the driver's seat. The IMF, which has been turned, is putting pressure onto them optically in order to create real reforms and remove the currency auctions, something they would never have said in the past, all part of removing the overall corruption. Here's an article again from Bishbosh, formerly my good friend, Mr. Trumptastic's channel that he's aptly taking over. And I'm just going to kind of show a couple of things here for you. Iraq just changed its money system. Securities that pay interest do not have discounts. No more auctions based on what? Fake rates. We have been telling you for a while the real rate is not in the Forex. It's in the Ministry of Planning, the private sector. Remember, the countries copy each other. Here's yet another seminal example. No more hiding behind the dollar. Whatever's left of that, this action, you are sure. Central bank, which is being removed over there, just like here, deciding what to do, debt backed by dinars, less reliance on the USD, shouldn't be any. Cash flows not just from oil, but from other assets they have in the ground, diamonds, gold, silver, potash, a whole bunch of things that they've got. We've talked about this before, uranium, etc. So Iraq is getting its money supply to be strong on the open market. And we were talking about the corruption point of view. So here's a key example. I just want to play a short clip. As you all probably know by now, Israel and the US have been in cahoots to subversively work against the corrupt Iranian proxies in the green zone in parliament in Iraq, just as they did with the nuclear sites about 2 weeks ago. So as of a couple of days ago, breaking news on Inside Paper, Israel launches massive attack on Syria, capital of Damascus. I'm just going to play a short clip so you can see for posterity. غارة جديدة وائل غارة جديدة وائل غارة ثانية غارات عنيفة جدا أربع صواريخ أربعة صواريخ أربعة صواريخ وائل غارة عنيفة جدا غارات عنيفة للغاية. So again, just making the point that U.S. and Israel are doing their part undoubtedly in the narrative of the movie. Now on to the nation of Indonesia. As you know, on Tuesday, President Trump announced that he has made a trade agreement with Indonesia. This is massive, as we said before, on our Telegram channel and other places, on other podcasts we had with SGN on and many other folks. It's hugely important for the rupiah currency as well as the copper mineral rights. Remember, copper will be an excellent backstop once silver runs out, as we've mentioned several times in the past. Don't be surprised when Fortune 1000 companies down the road, maybe, I don't know, a year or 2, 3 years down the road, start to offer you large payouts for your silver for the aforementioned manufacturing, robotics, AI, etc. Now we're going to turn our attention to cryptos. Really exciting news, as you all know. So let's get to the correct slide here. Thanks for your patience. As you're all aware, XRP hit record highs on Friday and Thursday evening this week at $3.60. Bitcoin went over 121,000 earlier in the week. XLM hit all-time highs over 38 cents with 25% growth week over week. Thursday night alone, it hit 8%. The Genius Act, as you can see in the aforementioned slide here, is being passed today with massive legislation oversight with an overwhelming majority vote from both Democrats and Republicans. As you can see, 206 Republicans, 102 Democrats. So it won by an overwhelming margin of 308 to 122 because everybody likes money. This includes a move against CBDC implementation here in America. All that's left now is for the Ripple SEC case to be officially retired with the paperwork filed by Judge Torres, which we all know is inevitable. We're watching to see if that wraps up before the end of this month, which only has about 2 weeks left, a little less than that at the time of this broadcast. And the initial price points, as we've said before, we anticipate to be $10 to $30. It's already at $360 now. It would be nothing for it to get to the $10 to $20 mark once the case officially dropped, because you know the whales are going to buy in massively along with the banking system. They're already doing it. And here's Amelia on Crypto Barbie talking Thursday night. Will the Ripple SEC case end Thursday? As we see, it did not, but that does not mean that it's far behind. It's just a key indicator for things. And also note that this is, folks, a key indicator for the dinar as it's tied to XRP, as well as the digital dong, respectively. Another thing I want to turn your attention to, folks, is the inevitable exit of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. We already know, since the Fed was baked into the Treasury in 2020, which we also talked about with SG and Bill Holter, both have corroborated this to be the case, along with myself, then he technically doesn't have a job. So this is basically for optics. But Gold Telegraph, just for posterity, saying breaking news, U.S. Secretary Treasury Bessent says there's a formal process to identify the nominee and become the next Fed chair, and there are a lot of good candidates. Really, there's only one good one, and we know who that is. Now, I'm going to play this clip by Scott Bessent. Check out his language and see what comms you get, and then we'll come right back.
There's a formal process that's already starting. There are a lot of great candidates, and we'll see how rapidly it progresses. It's President Trump's decision, and it will move at his speed.
Do you see any merit at all in selecting maybe a candidate that's already on the committee on the FOMC versus taking a look at someone outside of the Federal Reserve?
Again, there are a lot of good candidates inside and outside the Federal Reserve, Jonathan.
Has the chairman himself, the Fed Chair Jay Powell, given you any indication whatsoever as to what he would do once his term has expired? Will he vacate his seat as the governor of the Federal Reserve?
Well, traditionally, the Fed chair also steps down as a governor, and there's been a lot of talk of a shadow Fed chair causing confusion in advance of his or her nomination. And I can tell you, I think it'd be very confusing for the market for a former Fed chair to stay on also.
Okay, so let's get out of this. Now, he made some interesting points there. He's not going to tip his cap publicly on a major broadcast and tell who he's for. But I think we all know the clear-cut choice, other than himself, is Judy Shelton. And she's sort of outside, but really inside. Remember, President Trump had her floated her in his first term to see how she might fare in a swamp. And even at that, she almost got 50%. I think she was actually right around 50%, but we're splitting hairs. The point being is that she fared really well in a bad environment. How much better is she going to fare in a clean Nasara government? Quite well. Everybody wants gold back, and she is one of the foremost experts at it. As you saw Andy Schectman's podcast this week, we extolled the virtues of that subject. President Trump loves to hire women in executive positions. He's been doing so since his time as a real estate tycoon mogul in the 80s. Art of the Deal book is replete with examples of that. For those of you who have read it, you know. And so it is still our humble opinion and our ultimate conclusion that Judy Shelton should and most likely will be the next Fed chair. Now, who's to say that when she comes in, Bessent won't either work alongside of her or under her as an assistant, potentially, because her whole purpose is to come in and remove the Fed. Ironic to the title, because it's already been done. Audit Fort Knox, audit the Fed, remove it, return the gold standard. There's no way you would return a gold standard and keep the Fed around. That doesn't even make sense. It will all go to the Treasury, and we'll gold back the Treasury bonds, as well as the cryptos, the currencies, everything. So everything is intersecting, interplaying beautifully to the middle, as you can all clearly see with these illustrations. Speaking of precious metals, a very apropos segue to our final points. On the precious metals and commodities report, as of the time of this broadcast, crude oil is trading at $67.58. Gold's up slightly to $3,348.10. Silver is holding steadily at $38.48, and the Dixie is a little bit up slightly at $98.61, but that typically fluctuates. And we do expect, once the announcement of the Fed removal, you should start to see the Dixie slide considerably into the low 80s at that point. That does it for this week's RV report. As always, we have breaking news, or the XRP case finally, as inevitably we know Judge Torres puts the paperwork, we'll get right on it, or anything else major occurs like Fed Powell stepping down or resigning because of pressure from Article 10 of the Federal Reserve Act, which denotes that a sitting president can remove a sitting Fed chair if he deems there to be any malfeasance, wrongdoing, which we already know with the $2.5 billion additional wing proposal on the Fed. That's fraud and wasteful, and that in and of itself, as the narrative, can constitute his removal. So when that stuff comes out, we'll let you know, of course, post haste. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your time. God bless. Take care. Be safe. Goodbye for now.